Interactions are how you can do something or take action in response to the user's actions or other events happening on your page. Interactions are closely related to state because oftentimes the thing that you're trying to do is to update some state. Let's start with an example. Let's say we have this text input here, and I want to have this button clear the text. So what I can do is I can specify an interaction that is a click interaction, and the actual action I want to take here is to update some state, and the state that we're trying to update is that text inputs state. So that's the default here. It's the only one available on this page. And what I want to do is to update it to a new value. And the value I want to update it to is basically the empty string, the empty text, which is denoted by this just double quotes. That's JSON notation. So if I back out of this and go ahead and play with it, you can see that I can type in some stuff and then hit clear to wipe out the text. Another common thing you might want to do from interactions is to switch variants or activate or toggle variants. And variants are actually a form of state as well, meaning let's say we have this page. It could also be a component, but here we have the page and we actually have multiple variants of this page. So we had that base variant, but down here we also have the annual pricing variant. And the only thing that's different between these two variants of the page is the pricing. So let's go back up to the base variant. And here we have this element, basically this it's almost like a toggle. On click for this element, I want to update the variants and activate different variants. And there's only one variant available on this page that I can choose, and I just want to go ahead and toggle it. So now if I hit play, we can see that it is switching between the variants like I'm expecting. So far, we've seen examples of updating state that's associated with a component like this text inputs state, but you can also just create state variables that are independent of any component you've inserted on your page. So as an example of that, let's say we have this page here, and we just want to have a counter where we can press these buttons to change the value of the counter. So what we can do is from the page data tab down here in state variables, we can go ahead and add a state variable, and let's call it my count, and it's going to be of type number, and I'm going to input the initial value here, which is 0. So now from my buttons, I can go ahead and add an interaction that is a click interaction. And I want to update that count. It's the only state available on this page. I can update it to a new value, but I can also just use these conveniences, increment and decrement, which are available for numbers. So I'm going to increment the value here, and on this one, I also want to add a click interaction that will decrement the value. And the last thing I want to do is I want to take this text, which is actually just set to the text 0. It's always going to show 0. I want to change that to display a dynamic value, and I'm going to go ahead and select that count state variable here. So now if I go ahead and hit play, everything just works. I can also create interactions that run multiple steps. And here I have this button where I want this to both add whatever the user has entered as a new tag and clear out the text input. So the way this page is set up is there is a state variable that's just the list of tags, the current list of tags. And so if I select this button, I'm going to go ahead and add an interaction that's a click interaction. And I want to update that tags variable here. And I want it to be set to a new value. Actually, instead of using the update state variable, I'm going to show something else. And that is the ability to just run some code. So you can actually just enter some JavaScript code here we'll look a little bit at how to interface from code with those state variables and such. But basically, everything is behind this $state variable, and here I can say I can see the tags, and what I want to do is I want to update the tags to be I want to push a new tag on there, and the new tag value I want to push is the state of the text input, the text inputs value. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. That's the code that we want to run in this step. Now that's the first step, and then the second step is I want to clear out the text input. So I'm going to just this one I'll leave as non-code, and I'll go ahead and just set that to the empty text. So now if I go ahead and try this out, blah, and it works. So far, we've seen a lot of click interactions, which are the most common, but there's other events that you can let your interactions be triggered by as well, such as various pointer interactions, like when the pointer is moving over one of these images, or focus and blur, which talk about when some interactive element receives focus, that means you can start typing in it, or the keyboard starts working with it. And then blur is the opposite of that. When focus leaves the element, you can have something fire then.